Good day everyone, my name is Kimberly B. Barcelon from 3B Bachelor of Secondary Education major in Science, and today is the 22nd of April 2022. For today, we are going to talk about anatomy and physiology with the integumentary system as our special topic. Before we proceed, let us first define and differentiate anatomy and physiology. Anatomy is the scientific study of the human body structures. The function of each of these structures is studied in physiology. The human body is frequently viewed as a complex machine. The machine must have all of its pieces in order to function, but each of these parts must also perform optimally. Now, why is studying this important? A study of anatomy and physiology is not only necessary for any healthcare employment, but it can also be beneficial to your own health. A basic understanding of the human body can assist you in making healthy decisions and encourage you to take proper action when symptoms occur. Your understanding of diet, drugs, medical gadgets, and procedures, as well as genetic and infectious disorders, would benefit from your expertise in this discipline. Everyone will have a problem with their body at some point, and knowing what to look for can help you be a better parent, husband, partner, friend, colleague, or career, or as an individual. Minded that organ systems are interconnected, that a disease in one system may result in a symptom in another system. Without seeing the normal interconnectedness, you cannot fully understand the disease. Beyond the individual organs and systems, it is also important to understand how the various aspects of the human body work together. The circulatory system, the respiratory system, the lymphatic system, and the more all play a part in the human health, and the interactions can be healthy or unhealthy. By understanding how the systems interact, you can determine the proper care for each individual patient and their specific symptoms. With a foundation of anatomy and physiology, you will have the building blocks to make the proper decisions and provide accurate and quality care. For example, when visiting a hospital for a checkup and a medical ally asks you what is wrong, so you told them that your back hurts. With the understandings you gained from the deeper aspects of anatomy and physiology, the medical personnel will immediately know what specific body part hurts and so as what to do in order to mitigate it. Let us then proceed to the four basic reference system of body organization, namely the direction, planes, cavities, and the structural units. The direction serves as a reference to the positions in regard to the body as a whole. There are different directions in our body. First is the superior or the uppermost or above, the cephalad or cranial towards the head, the inferior, lowermost or below, anterior towards the front, posterior towards the back, the medial nearest the midline of the body, the lateral towards the side, the proximal near the point of attachment or origin, the distal away from the point of attachment or origin, the ipsilateral on the same side of the body as another structure, the contralateral on the opposite side of the body from another structure, the superficial toward or on the surface of the body, the deep away from the surface of the body. Second are the planes, which basically describes the dissections to lie inside a specific organ or the body as a whole. There are also different types of planes. First is the mid-sagittal, vertically divides the body through the midline into two equal left and right portion or halves. Next is the sagittal, any plane parallel to the mid-sagittal or median plane, vertically dividing the body into an equal right and left portion. The third is the horizontal or transverse, which divides the body into up and down portions. The fourth is the frontal or coronal, that divides the body into front and back portion. And last is the parasagittal, which divides the body plane off center, parallel, or alongside the midline. Our third body reference would be the cavities, which is by any chance, any fluid-filled space in a multicellular organism where internal organs develop. Our body has two major cavities, the dorsal cavity and the ventral cavity. The dorsal cavity contains the organs of the nervous system. It is subdivided into cranial cavity, which contains the brain, and the spinal cavity, which contains the spinal cord. The second is the ventral cavity, that contains the different organs that regulates homeostasis. It is subdivided into thoracic cavity and abdominopelvic cavity. A little reminder that homeostasis is any self-regulating process by which an organism tends to maintain stability while adjusting to conditions that are best for its survival. Our last body reference is the structural units. The human body is composed of organ systems, a group of organs that works together, which are then composed of organs, which is composed of tissues, and these tissues are made up of cells, which we refer to as the basic structural unit of life. Knowing the basics of these four basic reference systems of body organization would help us locate different body parts of the body that are both seen and cannot be seen by the naked eye. Especially those which are located internally, a specified location would be very much important in order to know what kind of action should be done in order to cure or respond to the physiological needs of the human body. Now, going to the special part of our discussion, which is the integumentary system, let us first give its definition. The integumentary system is made up of several organs and structures including the skin, hair, nails, glands, and nerves. The primary function of the integumentary system is to protect the inside of the body from elements in the environment, like bacteria, pollution, and the UV rays from the sun. The skin and its associated structures also retain bodily fluids, eliminate waste products, and regulate the body's temperature. The integumentary system works with all the other bodily systems, such as the nervous, cardiovascular, and digestive systems, to accomplish all the jobs it performs in order to maintain the stability of the internal body. The integumentary system includes the skin, the hair, the nails, the exocrine glands, and the sensory nerves. Integumentary system, specifically the skin, interacts with our other organ systems. It is very active in working with other organ systems in order to maintain the body's overall balance, which we refer to as homeostasis. One of the examples that how skin helps each body system maintain homeostasis includes the following. First, the skin interacts with the body's immune system in many ways to protect the body from infection, serving as a physical barrier to disease-causing microorganisms. In the digestive system, the skin synthesizes vitamin D from the exposure to the sun, therefore providing this vital nutrient to the digestive system. Vitamin D is required to absorb calcium, and the skin works with the digestive system to ensure that calcium can be properly absorbed. To the cardiovascular system, the skin works with the cardiovascular system by helping to conserve or release heat by constricting or dilating the blood vessels. To the nervous system, the skin functions to transmit sensations from the environment via its nerve receptors. The nerve impulses, such as the perception of heat, cold, and other sensations, are then transmitted to the nervous system to be interpreted by the brain. To the skeletal system, vitamin D synthesis, which takes place in the skin, promotes calcium absorption. Calcium is needed for the growth and maintenance of bones, as well as for the muscle constructions. To the endocrine system, the endocrine system involves the body's hormones. Vitamin D, produced by the skin, can act as a hormone in the body. Some hormone imbalances can have an adverse effect on the skin. To the respiratory system, the small hairs in the nose, which are part of the integumentary system, act as a filter to remove harmful particles which may otherwise be inhaled into the lungs. And lastly, the urinary system. The skin functions to excrete waste products such as salts and some nitrogenous waste into the sweat. This helps the kidneys maintain the body's proper balance of electrolytes as well as maintaining the normal pH balance. Now, you might be wondering how a wound heals when it is scratched. The wonders of the integumentary system have an answer for that. The skin protects the underlying organs, a function necessary for the survival of the organism. As a protective shield for the body from the external environment, the skin is constantly exposed to potential injury, and thus, wound healing is a vital process for the survival of all higher organisms. There are 4 steps in the process of wound healing. The first is the hemostasis. When the skin is cut, scraped, or punctured, it usually starts to bleed. Within minutes or even seconds, blood cells start to clump together and clot, protecting the wound and preventing further blood loss. These clots, which turn into scabs as they dry, are created by a type of cell called the platelet. The clot also contains a protein which is called the fibrin, which forms a net to hold the clot in place. Next step is the inflammation. Once the wound is closed with a clot, the blood vessels can open a bit to allow fresh nutrients and oxygen into the wound for healing. So you might see some clear fluid on or around the cut at this time. That is helping clean out the wound. The macrophage also produce chemical messengers called the growth factors, which help repair the wound. The third step is growth and rebuilding. Blood cells, including the oxygen-rich red blood cells, arrive to help build new tissue. Chemical signals tell the cells to create a collagen. It serves as a type of scaffolding. Occasionally, you see the result of this process as a scar that starts out red and eventually dulls. The last step is strengthening. So over time, the new tissue gets stronger. You might notice stretching, itching, or even puckering of the wound as that happens. Depending on the size and the severity of the wound, the entire healing process may take up to a couple of years to complete. Now let us dive deeper onto the concept of homeostasis. By definition, homeostasis, from the Greek words for same and steady, refers to any process that living things use to actively maintain fairly stable conditions necessary for survival. There are some disorders of the integumentary system due to homeostatic imbalance. One of its examples is the skin cancer, which is an increasingly common condition. This is due to people's increased exposure to UV radiation because of the increased popularity of sunbathing. Because melanin protects the skin from the effects of UV radiation, lighter-skinned people are at more risk of developing skin cancer than darker-skinned people. However, the risk of developing skin cancer is related to the amount of sunburn and the overall length of time a person has been exposed to UV light. Do you know that you may also have one of these homeostatic imbalance in your integumentary system? The acne. Acne is a highly complicated and variable form of skin infection. It affects more than 85% of teenagers, but frequently it also continues to adulthood. Excessive secretion of sebum from the sebaceous glands leads to the plugging of the hair follicle with dead skin cells. This blockage is caused by a failure of the normal process in which skin cells that line the pores are usually shed. Within these blocked pores, bacteria and yeast begin to multiply. In response to the bacterial and yeast population, the skin inflames, which produces a red bump. That ends our little discussion about anatomy and physiology with the integumentary system as the focus. I hope you learned something from this video. Thank you.